welcome to part 3 of the Halloween accordion book that I'm making with the Tim Holtz Idea-ology Halloween collection. I'm going to be continuing the decorating part and I'm going to start working on the next 3 pages for today's video. I'm going to start by making a card that is going to go inside the pocket. And I want to do some layering, and I'm using the card from the previous video to see how big I can make it, because I want it roughly the same height, because I don't want the things that are inside the pockets to stick out a lot more than the actual covers. I'm going to roughen up all the edges with my sanding disc and my nails, and then I'm going to ink around them. I'm then going to do some layering, and I'm going to use some vintage book pages and some tea-dyed papers. For the final layer, I want to use some of the Tim Holtz backdrops. I'm then going to roughen up the edges with my distress tool and ink around it. Once I'm happy, I'm going to stick it down with some art glitter glue, and I'm also going to do some sewing around the border. Then I'm going to add this piece of vintage ledger, but I want to make it a lot more grungy. So I'm going to take some distress oxide, use some water, and then just dip the paper inside. And I'm also going to do that with the Scorched timber, but then the normal ink. And then I'm just going to glue it down, and it can act as a journal card now. I'm then going to do some stamping on the card on both sides. And lastly, I'm going to add a tiny paper clip. I am going to put some glue behind the paper as well to hold the paper clip in place. And with that, this journal card is finished. Now I'm going to start working on the side of the page, and I decided to add some of the thinner Tim Holtz trims washi tape. I don't know what the set is called, to be honest, but it's the very thin ones. This is not a Halloween one in particular, but it had a few that did fit the theme, I thought. So I'm going to add 2 different ones just to add some more detail. I then going to choose some paper dolls. This one was not in the Halloween pack. This was just a normal paper doll that was in my stash. I decided to use these girls because they were exactly what I was looking for. I had something in mind. And I'm going to cut off their legs because they're just too tall. And I also am going to sort of frame it with the rose so that you don't really miss the legs, if that makes sense. I'm then going to add some collage medium and another one of those tea bags that I used in the previous video as well. And then on top I'm going to add one more layer of collage medium. Then I'm going to do some inking around the edges with some Scorched timber. I want to make the picture of the girls a bit more creepy, so I'm going to black out the eyes with a Posca pen. And I'm then going to stick down the rose on top. I'm going to add some details, and I'm going to start off by using this little label that I made with the Tim Holtz Sizzix tinted dies. I then decide to add a bit Black Suit Distress Crayon to add a bit of a feeling as if it was dirt. I'm also going to put it on the paper dolls, and I'm going to add a tiny bit of water, and then I'm going to make it really look dirty. And the idea behind it was as if these girls have crawled their way out of the grave. It's a bit sinister, I know, but I'm going for a creepy vibe, and I'm allowed on Halloween, I guess. I'm then going to use some mummy cloth underneath to add a bit more texture. I really like how it's turning out, and then I'm going to put in the journal card, and I'm going to see if there are some last minute decorations that I want to do. And I'm going to start off by adding some scraps. I'm going to layer those as well. And with that, the page is almost finished. It was only missing one thing, and that was this quote chip that said "dearly departed," and I'm going to mat it out with some collage medium first, and then I'm going to do the same thing as we did with the one on the cover. I'm going to use some grit paste in Crypt, and then I'm going to let it dry, and as soon as it's almost dried, I'm going to add the alcohol inks. And then I'm going to attach it to the page. Now it's time to start the next page. I'm going to start off by fussy cutting this skull from this piece of ephemera. And I'm going to do some sanding around the edges and roughen it up a bit more with my scissors and nails. I'm then going to mat it out as I have done with most of the pieces with some collage medium and my fingers. I'm going to tap it to get a bit more texture. Then I'm going to dry it with my heat gun. I'm then going to distress this piece of ephemera with my sanding disc, and I'm going to roughen up the edges a bit more with my scissors as well. This is going to become the journal card for the first pocket, because this page actually has a double pocket. I then decide to just crumble up the paper to give it even more texture, and then I'm going carefully over with my dauber to catch the folds and the creases, and then you will get this lovely effect and it will make it look even older. I'm then going to work on the next journal card, which is a bigger one, and I'm going to use this paper doll portrait, and I'm also going to mat it with the collage medium. Now this one needs to be backed, and I'm going to pick a paper that will fit the other side. And I'm also going to back up this piece with some backdrops as well. Once everything is stuck down, I'm going to roughen up the edges even more and do some heavy inking. I'm then going to glue down the skull in the middle of the pocket. Also, I am going to trim off some of this card too, so that it fits in just a tiny bit better, and that you won't see his head as soon as I put the smaller card inside, as you can see here. Yeah, so I just chopped off just a tiny bit. And then I'm going to do some sewing around the borders, and I'm going to add some cello tape here and there. Then I want to add one of the Tim Holtz Halloween stickers. I'm going to use this sticker that says Vanishing Visitors. I really like how it turned out. I do feel like the page was a bit empty still, so I'm going to add one of those new Moths, and I chose a really big one that had a lot of yellow inside as well to fit the rest of the color scheme of this page. I'm going to cut it to the middle and just make it fit behind the skull. I then want to get rid of that border that's around the moth. Then on the next page, we're going to start by making a spider on a thread. And I'm going to color the spider a bit with the alcohol inks. These spiders are also from Tim Holtz. I believe this set was called Halloween Adornments. And this is the girl that will be holding the spider on the thread. I'm going to ink it a bit with some vintage photo to give her a little bit of color, and then I'm going to matte it out as well with the collage medium. I'm going to black out this girl's eyes as well as I've done before to make it tie in a bit. And then I'm going to attach her to the page and also attach the spider. I'm going to glue down the string behind her hand so that it looks as if she's holding the spider web. And I'm also going to glue down the string to the bottom of the page. This will allow the spider to dangle just a tiny bit, but not too much, and it will keep it in place. I'm then going to use this sticker that says, "I am walking in the graveyard now." And I'm going to attach it to some scraps to add some layering again. I'm then going to add some more details by adding some more ephemera pieces. For the back of the journal card that I'm making for this pocket, I am going to make a sort of like a poem, or well, it's not really a poem, but it's more like a small story or something. So I've picked out all of these stickers that I'm going to put on white paper first to make them a bit more sturdy, because I really want to grunge them up. And when they're just the stickers, you cannot really do that. It's too flimsy. So that's why I did that. And then I'm going to roughen up the edges, all of them, with my nails and do some inking. I picked out this spider image from Tim Holtz that I want to use as the journal card, and I'm going to cover it with one of the transparencies with the spider web, but I want only the top to be glued so that it will overlap the girl as if she is covered in the cobwebs, if that makes sense. Because that's also what the little story is about on the back. I will read it to you in a bit. And as you can see here, I folded over the transparency to the back, and then I'm going to stick it down and cover it again. I'm then going to cut out the spider web, or cut off the excess of the transparency, I should say. And I'm going to use my bone folder to really burnish the crease, and then I'm going to mat it with the collage medium. I'm going to carefully heat it with the heat gun. I'm not going to heat it up too much because that can damage the transparency. And then I'm going to glue down all the word stickers. The little story reads, I heard footsteps behind me. Amelia Hardy, we thought she was buried, good and proper. Her eyes were dark, swathed in dust and cobwebs. I felt chills down my backbone. Ghost of the departed, are you all right, ma'am? Again came the ghostly laughter. She vanished into the cobwebs. Now, this was the best I could do with the stickers to create some sort of a story, but I think I managed. And then I also want to add one of those spiders on top of the cobwebs. I'm going to use some GSO Hypo cement glue for that. This is a glue that is used for making jewelry. I'm going to see if this book fits in this case, because I found this at a thrift store the other day, and I was like, oh my god, maybe my journal fits in there. And it actually did, but it was almost full, and I'm not done yet with decorating, so I decided to rip out a piece of the journal to make sure that it won't get too bulky, because I really want to use this wooden case. So yeah, I'm going to rip out a piece of the journal, and that will eliminate 4 pages actually. Well, 2 front, 2 back, if that makes sense. And I'm going to reattach it together with some art glitter glue, and as you can see, it doesn't really look weird or anything. It looks really good still. So yeah. I add some sewing to the transparency to make sure that it lays flatter, and I'm glad that I did, because it wasn't really flat to begin with. And then I'm going to add some last minute decorations to the previous page because I thought it was a bit empty, so I'm going to add a bunch of snippets. And with that, the video is also almost over. I really hope that you are enjoying this series and this part 3. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and leave a comment down below. I want to thank you all for watching. Have a nice day wherever you are. Subscribe for more, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye!